New fire chief. He's very progressive, and he is definitely coming in with the mindset that there is ways for the fire department to generate revenue to offset costs. The hard part with fire departments, like I said before, is the fire department will never make enough money to replace everything that we spend for our daily operations. And unfortunately, a lot of the revenue generating items are things that have a big upfront cost. So you do not see the savings immediately. Sometimes it takes a few years, sometimes it takes 5 years, sometimes it takes 10 years. Unfortunately, the problem that we have today is a now problem. The budget shortfall that the city's seeing right now is a right now problem. So, you know, it's hard to say, hey, we're going to save you money in 5 years, but you're going to have to give us a whole bunch of cash right now to put in the infrastructure and purchase things we need to in order to make it happen. So,
even more specifically for the Police Officers Association, you know, we do recognize that one issue is certainly the cost to pay employees. And that's reality. We recognize that, and these are hard budget times. There's a reason why the last several times that the city has said that there's a budget crisis, and please renegotiate with us. Let's work on your pay scale so that we can help resolve this crisis. We've been there. We did it last time. We, you know, dropped raises and deferred them, and so we're here again. And I'm reasonably sure we're gonna do it again. I mean, it's you know, we think that there should be some value in an agreement you make, you know, obviously with your employer as a bargaining group. There has to be some meaning in that. But at the same time, we recognize that this is a difficult problem, and all of us are going to have to feel some pain. And quite frankly, that means me personally, as it means everyone in this room personally.
The employees from all the representatives from our bargaining groups were invited to come up with ideas on ways to reduce the budget deficit the first time, a year and a half ago. And we came up with a big list of ideas and gave them to the city manager then. They were kind of ignored. During this current budget crisis, the interim city manager at the time, Scott Tullett, came to us and said, hey, would you take a look at those ideas, reevaluate them, and give us a short list of ideas that you think would be effective in helping to reduce the budget deficit. So we did. And we came up with a much shorter list and gave it to them, and for them to consider and to take forth to council and to see if we could implement some of the ideas. Some of the ideas we had was merging departments. We thought there was a lot of departments that could be merged and save money that way. I'll give an example. OBA, Office of Budget Analysis, and Finance Department. We felt that they could be merged. They didn't need to be two separate entities. You didn't need to have two separate departments with two separate department heads and senior staff and everything for dealing with fiscal issues in the city. And so that was one of the ideas we put forward. They did that. The new city manager, Jim Sandoval, one of his first actions was to merge OBA and Finance. And by doing that, saved at least $200,000-300,000 right off the bat. There are other ideas that have been had for merging departments where, I think another idea might be Public Works and Engineering, and having a director for both and then having a structure underneath, and you save some of that overhead stuff. We suggested that the organization be flattened. If you look at the organization from before, there was a whole lot of executives, senior managers, and upper management, and the lower management, the guys out doing the work on the street and field, there were more chiefs than Indians, it felt like sometimes. So there was a lot of room for flattening the organization, leaving the people out there doing the job, but you don't need quite so many bosses telling them how to do that job. So that's one of the suggestions we put forward. Another suggestion we put forward was dealing with car allowances. All right. We understand there's a lot of people in the city that need to use a vehicle for city work. Some of them are assigned vehicles, some of them need to use their own car. We're saying, cool. Well, we don't say cool, we say fine. All right, I said cool. When we said cool, we understand that some people need to use their cars for city services, for city work. And when they do, they should be compensated for that use. They should be paid mileage for the use of their car. They should be given a reasonable compensation for the use of their own vehicle. But not $400 a month whether they drive a car or not. The car allowances for a lot of folks were perks. Perks for the positions they held, not actually because they're out driving a car. So we said, well, let's take it back down towards people who are using a vehicle and reimburse them for the mileage that they used. We feel that there's ways to generate revenue, and revenue needs to be generated. I said before, you just can't cut. And right now the city's main sources of revenue they've been going for is sales tax, new builds, and property taxes. It's kind of where they've been coming from. Well, nothing's being built. Property taxes are going down because people are going, whoa, my property, my house is less valuable now. I can pay less property taxes. So that's going down. And for the last few sales tax quarters, people are buying less, so sales tax money's gone down. So we need to look at other ways to generate some revenues. We had some ideas, like I mentioned the park ranger program they're wanting to cut, right? Well, they work a lot with the gazebos and stuff that the city provides and rents. One of the ideas is we'll raise the fees on those gazebos. Right now the fees for the gazebos in Chula Vista are lower than most everywhere else. So if you raise the fees a little bit, where it's still less expensive than other communities, but it's still equitable, but it provides more funds to provide the services for the people that can work them, to clean them, to take care of them, to maintain them, so that they're there for the people when they want to use them. So the city needs to look at some of the fees and things they have and see if we need to increase some fees and stuff. The city's owed a lot of money. We go, wait a minute. If I owed somebody money, they come get it from me. So why doesn't the city go to these folks that owe the city money and get the money that's owed them? With business licenses, false alarm fees, through other funds, through the block community development, community redevelopment. There's money owed to the city should make a bigger effort to collect those monies. That's part of that revenue generating idea. The other thing, and Phil mentioned it, is maybe we need to look at taxes. Nobody likes to pay taxes. I don't like to pay taxes. But when it comes down to a choice between having a short-term sales tax, and it has to be that, it can't be something forever, and cutting the services we need for the city, then maybe it's time to look at increasing the sales tax. Those are some of the ideas that we have had. Some of them the city's implemented, some I think the city's going to be looking at implementing. We all need to kind of work together, what we talked about before. Like if the city was to go forward with the sales tax issue, I know I wouldn't want to vote for sales tax if I thought the money from the sales tax was just going to go to pay somebody's pay raise coming up. So that's why I say everybody, and everybody and all the bargaining units are negotiating with the city and working out arrangements so that there's not that perception, there's not that reality. If there is a sales tax thing, one of the things I think should be happening is there should be an oversight committee to make sure that the money is spent on the services the city needs it for, and the money is just not used as deep pockets for somebody in the city. So I think that with the city employees working to help reduce the deficit, with some of the efforts the city's doing itself in merging units, merging departments, and maybe looking at raising some fees, and then you as a community, and it's you as a community that needs to come to the city council and say, yeah, we'd be willing to do a sales tax increase.